So without any further ado, I'd like to invite a gentleman whose mission is to ensure that you are empowered, whose mission is to ensure that you are encouraged, that you remember that you are not a mistake, you're not here by, default, or you were factory, or you were a mistake, or your business was a bad idea. He's here to motivate you to continue running your race. And the gentleman I'm talking about is Kenni Gambo. Please give him a warm round of applause.
Thank you. Molweni. Ndiyasithetha isiXhosa, ne? Yeah, ndiyasithetha isiXhosa. Esaselokishini kodwa sisiXhosa naso. It's great to be in PE this morning. You feeling good? I'm going to ask you to do something for me. I'm going to ask everybody if you could just rise to your feet, please. It's a lovely morning, and we want to say good morning, dumelang, mangwanani, bonjour, jambo. You know, the New South Africa has every kind of people in it, and we love it, and therefore we acknowledge that goeiemorgen ook for all those who made it here this morning. It's a lovely day, and Port Elizabeth is beautiful. So I have such an anticipation of what's going to happen at this meeting. I am completely and utterly very, very happy. Thank you there to my sister for that very nice story. She latched on to the idea of today. It's about your story. I'm one of those people who believe when you come to a conference, you're supposed to leave feeling better about yourself, your opportunities, and the possibilities out there for you. I do not believe you should leave here feeling better about me. I already feel better about me. So my job is to make you feel better about you. And that's exactly what we're going to hope to achieve this morning. I want you to do me a favor this morning. Work with me here. I'm going to get louder as the minutes go by. I hope you're going to bear with me. Understand most of the time, either when we are happy or when we are sad, it makes no difference. We are just happy people. Okay, wonderful. Give yourselves a round of applause because we are going to get this show on the road this morning. We also want to say good morning to those who are watching by live stream this morning, and I believe some from all around the world who are watching it on capemedia.tv. It's a lovely morning. I want you to do something for me this morning. I want you to shake off the shyness, the inhibitions you may feel, because I am not shy. You will soon discover that. But I want you to do something as we begin. I want you to turn to your neighbor. And I know this sounds tacky and you see it all the time, but you're going to do this and you're going to understand later why. Tell your neighbor, hold their hand, shake their hand if you can. Say, come on, we're African people, we shake people's hands. I want you to say to your neighbor, you are not supposed to be here. I want you to do it one more time for the benefit of the cameras. We don't want them saying the cameras were broken or anything. So I want you to tell your neighbor that you are not supposed to be here. Lovely. Give yourselves a hand of applause and you may be seated. Woo. I wish I could sit and listen to this one. You are not supposed to be here. Ladies and gentlemen, given our history in this country and where we come from as a people, if you know anything about our history and you did not fall from Mars or Jupiter in the last 10 years, you would know that all of us in this room are not supposed to be here. You would know that the problems we encountered in this country prohibited 90% of us in this room from being here. But not only that 90%, even the 10%, given where people had predicted our country will go, are not supposed to be here. I want you to give South Africa a hand. What an amazing, amazing place. What an amazing place. We have this knack for snatching victory from the jaws of certain defeat. On a social level, if I were to go to any, especially Ababa Pumelokshin, all of you from the townships, let's start there. If I were to go to your location, and I go to your street, your NY, your NU, whatever street it was where you grew up, in your rural home, there are some people in your street who will be amazed to see you here. They said, uThabo, you'll never aphumelela uThabo. This Thabo, this one, you'll never make it. You know what I'm talking about. Gentlemen smiling over there. Many of you, the neighbors, or the teacher, or the social, somebody in your community said, this one will never make it. Amen. But guess where you are right now? The brother was to preach. Guess where you are right now? At the SMME conference. That's where you are. And they're streaming it worldwide. Where did that come? You made it till here. That says something about you. And this morning I'm going to touch on my subtitle. My subtitle is Moving Your SMME to the JSE. I don't hear you. Moving your SMME towards the JSE. What is it talking about? You know, these speakers, they'll say these outlandish things, etc., etc. I'm going to prove something to you this morning. I'm going to prove you something that it is possible. But I'm going to give you practical ways on how it's been done. There's no A to Z. There's no 10, 7 steps to this or that. There are some simple things that you've got to do right, repeatedly, consistently, assiduously, repetitiously, until you get this thing to work for you. Have I got your support to do that? Have I got your support to do that? Wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, I was born in the city that is now called Cape Town. But my ancestors called it Kamisa. How many of you have heard that name before? Now you know something. It means the place of sweet waters, and I promise it has nothing to do with all those pubs on Long Street. The Khoi people actually used to call it the place of sweet waters because roundabout where the stadium stands now was where they used to bring their cattle and their sheep, and the water there was a freshwater lake, and they called it Kamisa. I kind of think it also ties in with Long Street in terms of all those establishments. So I want to say this morning, I was born on the 7th of December. I want to share my story in line with what my sister was speaking about, and then I'm going to move over to yours. I was born on the 7th of December, and every year I've been celebrating an anniversary of my birthday. I was so lucky, I was born on my birthday. Isn't that wonderful? I just started out right. But every one of us sitting here, as soon as you pop your head into this world, there is a certain set of circumstances and challenges and odds that are arrayed against you from the get-go. As soon as you just pop into the world, there is somebody somewhere who feels it is his duty to stop your march to this SMME conference. When I was born on the 7th of December, my mother was told that I have yellow jaundice fever. And so they put me in a neon-lit room for 21 days. And though I may have been lucky to have been born on my birthday, I missed my first home Christmas because I got home after Christmas. That was the first odd that was stacked against me. Now, you may or may not have noticed that I was born with a fabulous tan, as most of you in this room. And that presented the next challenge. We lived in a place called District 6, and it was wonderful according to reports. I don't remember much of it, but all the tales I hear that it was a potpourri of different cultures and different nations, very much like how the South Africa we want to build right now. I was born to a mother who comes from a Khoisan tribe called the Atakwa people, who sort of were around the mountain and also in the area of Prince Albert in the Karoo. And my father was one of the first people who perfected the art of border jumping. I will speak later about that because that was another challenge. But this is what I'm trying to get at. After being so deliriously happy that I'm born on my birthday, I go into a neon-lit room because they had to get some yellow off me. And then I move to that. Isn't that fantastic? I mean, this is a great start in life, isn't it? Guy gets born here, grows up here, you tend to think, everything's going to go. Until one day when the removal trucks pitched up, and we had not phoned them, they came by themselves. It was the quickest and swiftest move we had ever experienced. Though it was involuntary, we were then moved from that beautiful place to there. I grew up in Guguletu, NY 130, got number 95, section 3. That's where I grew up. You may have picked up, I am not Xhosa, but ndikhule namaXhosa kwaXhosa. So, izinto zakwaXhosa ndiyazazi. Ndikhula namaXhosa. So in section 3, Guguletu, we were there, and because my dad was from another part of the country and the world, we also, again, did not quite belong. Because sometimes, the language issue comes up, and then it didn't help the fact to go to my mother. Stop! And my mother looked like one of those people from there in Geluksdal somewhere. And it was like, oh, what are these people? Who are they? Who are they? These are the challenges that faced me. You have your own set of challenges. That even as I was speaking about mine, you could think back to not fitting in at some place or other, or in some situation or other. Things that may have happened in your life. How is it relevant to an SMME meeting? Please bear with me as I walk you through this. Now, as we were growing up here, things were nice, and we went to school. Now, we were a very strange bunch of people, because we would stay in Guguletu, but because our mother had very little of this tan, we were told we must go to school across the railway line in Heidelberg. So, by day, I was in that population group. And by night, I was in this population group. And weekends, when we went to town, we were part of another population group. I say we were the first group of people who were all races in one day. When you this side, there was a name they called you. This side, there was a Lokshin doesn't understand the Clan City. When they used to call and shout it out loud, when I made them cross, they used to scream, Eli Heya. You understand that? Okay. Come with me. When I go over the railway line to school to get some relief, they used to call me the K word, and it was not Kenny. Those were the circumstances of South Africa then. And that's the kind of country we lived in, all of us. Some of you who come from an area where the people were all the same, that was cool. But as you traveled, you discovered people were different from you. And now and again, when they got angry with you, they reminded you, Marwena maXhosa, Nina Basutu, Yeleles Nirech. You remember those were the ways we used to talk. How do I link all this? There are odds and challenges that are arrayed against us. From the get-go, as we make our entrance into this world, nobody has a smooth sailing. This is how the place looks now. I was there the other day because we do some community work there, and that's the Barcelona squatter camp you see there on the top, or informal settlement, and those are the flats in Heidelberg near the school where I used to go to. Now, the people you can blame are these two people, and the handsome guy there on the black and white photo happens to be me. Contrary to public belief, you can see I did start out as a handsome young man. What happened afterwards, I'm not responsible for. Now, this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen, this morning. We are in a country where opportunity has now presented itself. And one thing I've decided to do, given my background, is to almost forget and place the past where it belongs. There were enough years spent by people trying to hold me back. Now, please, let's clarify this. Not only people who look like me were held back. There were the Scottish guys who were against the Welsh guys, and then there were the Portuguese who were against the Spanish. Everybody has something against somebody, especially when the atmosphere is what it was in the past. I mean, even the people with long pants had something against the people with short pants. It got ridiculous. We were 6 in our family. 3 were classified as belonging to the group on that side of the railway station, and the other 3 on this side. But we had one set of parents, because the comb could not really go through my head like with the others. You get where I'm at this morning? Meat that I see Pick n Pay is also selling these days. Umbengo, you get it there now. Amangaina. Pick n Pay has them. We used to survive on these things. And what happened was the gentleman used to sell them. Today he owns a company, or has shares in a company that's on the JSE from an SMME. Somebody said, how is that possible? And who are these people you're talking about? Let me share with you the stories quickly of the Premier Soccer League. All of you like soccer, please put your hands up. Let me see who are the soccer lovers here. Soccer. Okay, all right. They used to play the games on dusty fields like these. No stands, hardly no fans most of the time as well. It was bad. There was no opportunity under the old dispensation for soccer as the majority supported sport to be what it has become. Just look where soccer is now. Dusty fields, bad stadiums, now one of the top 10 best sponsored leagues in the whole wide world. But look at where they started from. Right there, that's where it was. That's Jomo Sono before he bought the Kentucky Fried Chicken franchise. For those of you who don't know, 100 million to 230 million sponsorship, and that was in 2012, an increase of more than 130%. The figures have gone through the roof. It's obscene. Soccer is just huge. It's run by the same people who were playing on those dusty fields. This gentleman is known to many of you. Was a soccer player, had to ferry his team around in his Chevrolet because there was no team buses. They had to change their clothes, park the car, and the guys change behind the car. Kaizer Chiefs today is a phenomenal brand in any other name. Those are the figures. I don't have to tell you what you can read up there. Starting from a soccer team that traveled in a car with no change rooms, playing on dusty sports grounds. That is what you happen when you believe that anything that you put your mind to is possible if you apply yourself diligently. Impossible is but a word that holds back many, but if you split it up into two, it becomes I'm possible. This lady, and I'm using paragons that are from South Africa so that you can see that I'm speaking within the context of our country and what's possible for us. She sold her house for a friend as a favor. That's how she started out. It was not even an SMME, it was a car boot business. Everybody knows Pam Golding these days. Look at that, $1.7 billion turnover from a car boot business. And you listen to people who tell you you can't make it. Can you see the futility of it? Let's move on here. I want to just lay the foundation for what I'm here to share with you. This gentleman, his mother used to sell a magwinya, fed cook, at the local soccer grounds. It was not even a registered SMME. Look at the man's worth on the cover of Forbes magazine. That slide was too small to put all the information. 2.9 billion worth. Yeah, but Kenny, that's him, that's her. Hold on. Let's move you along and have a look at someone else. Herman Mashaba, you all know him. He's the fella that is black like me. He built this business he made these products in his bathroom, in his council house. They would mix these products and walk to every spaza shop selling his products personally. Today, Black Like Me and Perfect Choice are worldwide brands. Instant brand name recognition. This gentleman. He has, over the last couple of years, been quiet and indulged in other activities, but I'm looking at the company itself. From making products in your bathroom to this. You all know this gentleman. That's all I'm going to say. You all know this gentleman. The first African in space. His business was run from his mother's garage. He couldn't even afford an office in a cheap part of town. Back in the day, Durbanville was not fashionable. There were empty offices everywhere. He could not afford one. Mark Shuttleworth. Would you give South Africans a hand? Let's move on. I met this young man not so long ago. He comes from Belhar on the Cape Flats, one of the areas that are very, very much affected by gangsterism and all the social ills that you see in these areas with these great, with these great sort of congested populations. Ashley Ace has invented an apparatus, a small little plastic apparatus that tests for malaria on the spot, gives you an instant result that is 99.9% correct, that also can tell if you are on medication, how the medication is working in your system. It found this company, Real World Diagnostics. The other day I called him up, I said, I want to feature you on Service Magazine's cover because you've done great work. This is an inspiration to the people who come from where you come. He says, Kenny, just hold on. I'm busy with a merger with a company from America. I said, how much are we talking? He says, we're talking billions in rands. SMME, all the way to the JSE. I've come to tell you real stories about real people. I'll leave the 7 points to this and that to others. But right now we are talking, I'm going to feature him on the magazine. You can see this apparatus costs R4 only. It allows government, it allows the private sector to hand out even these kits to staff to check the family and get everyone so that we know what the situation is regarding our wealth. Those are all issues that affect our economic performance and our economic well-being. 25 years old from the Cape Flats. So not everybody there has got missing teeth and belongs to a gang. This gentleman here, you may know, you may not know, KK. Zitulele Ombi is from Guguletu, the area I come from. We produce some good people there. Thank you, thank you, thank you. KK used to run a small little shop, township shop. I'll show you what it looked like before. And there's a big lesson that you can learn that will help you ahead about KK's story. KK decided when he was in London, he saw one of these booths that do foreign currency trade. And he decided South Africa didn't have this. And so therefore, he wants to do it in South Africa. In a nutshell, KK came back and he decided who could help him. He said, if I went straight to government, they would laugh at me, nobody knows me. It was the apartheid government at the time. I also don't quite look like them. So then he remembered that the coffee shop he goes to in Franschhoek, he always sees old Minister Piet Koornhof drinking coffee there. Now there's no reason that KK Tombi should even wanted to speak to Piet Koornhof, given what that government did that he was in. But let's leave that behind us. He walks up to him, he says, look, I've got this idea, I picked it up in London, I'd like to open a currency dealer. Could you set up a meeting with Chris Stals, who was the Reserve Bank governor at the time? Piet Koornhof, much to his credit, to show you that everybody has some good in them, decided, yes, I'll set you up. 2 weeks later, he meets Chris Stals, and today, master currency, nationwide, belongs to this gentleman. I want to show you, that was his shop on the left-hand side that we used to go to as kids, and now he runs the one on your right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, from an SMME to the JSE. Now, could you do it? Could you do it? Are you like him? Let me tell you something. When we are born, there is no part on your birth certificate that states that you will be an entrepreneur, he will be a swimmer, he will be a director, and he will be a jailbird. Nothing of the sort. So everybody has an equal shot at the dream. Every one of us. It's what we do with the opportunities that we have. 9 times out of 10, people are not ready for opportunities that come their way. It was Whitney Young who wrote these powerful words. He said, it is better to be prepared and not have an opportunity than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. You've got to stay ready that the big chance, the big opportunity is around the corner, that your success is imminent. You've got to prepare. Somebody came to me and said the other day, I really pray for a car, and I think I'm going to get a car. I said, have you started building a garage? No. So where's the car going to park? Many people hope and pray and wish for things that they're not preparing to get. He knew he was going to grow into that because he went to London to look for opportunity. And then when he was told that he had to go and meet someone with whom he should have nothing in common, he did the pragmatic thing. He went to speak to him. Something that holds a lot of people back is their memory and their history. You find the German is crossed with the Swiss. And you find this one is crossed. Listen, let me disprove something else. Every nation under God's beautiful earth, sun, has been oppressed by another at some point or other. I'll prove it to you. The Jews were chased around by the Germans. And now they're kind of chasing the Palestinians around. And the Irish were chased around by the English, and they went to America and chased around the Red Indians. And then I believe the Zulu chased the Xhosa around, who came around and chased the Khoisan around, and they're chasing the cattle around. Somebody is chasing somebody. Don't hold that stuff in your heart and walk with it. It's going to hold you back. Your greatest opportunities, ladies and gentlemen, are often with the people you least think would help you. KK Tombi, Guguletu, blackmail, Piet Koornhof, apartheid, hardliner. You don't connect the two in any kind of logic, do you? But that's where his opportunity came from. You've got to be pragmatic and do for your business what you must do for your business. You've got to put these things behind. Somebody had something against someone. I know my neighbors and they look like me. This one's got something against that one. You can't start a revolution for that. we're running a business. Am I cheapening things? No. Am I minimizing certain people's struggles? No. In case you haven't noticed, I'm black like you. We are a people with a destiny and a plan. We live in a magnificent country, and we are driving this economy to where it's going. Right now, the black diamond class is propelling this economy in consumer spending to the place it should be. There's no time to remember what Johnny did last year, Wednesday, 2:30, before the shops in Athlone. I'm too busy for that. I want to talk to the guy. What do you do, sir? What do you do? Can I link up with you? No, where are you? Of course, I don't deal with courses. Please, you are holding yourself back. It was Osborne who said, unless you attempt to do that which you have not done yet, you will never grow. You will remain static. And I want to leave this with you this morning. From the SMME to the JSE, it's a road that's been carved out already. It's a destiny that has been reached. You don't have to do it all over again and learn the new tricks. You can simply walk in the footsteps of giants. Could Port Elizabeth rise to your feet and give yourselves and this SMME conference a nice round of applause? Could you do that? Repeat after me. I'm not supposed to be here. But I'm here. I may as well make the most of it. And I'm not leaving until I get what I want. And that's what you're going to have to do with this conference, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your time. I said I'll be right on time. Thank you. Have a great conference. Network as much as you can. Meet all the people you can. And go from an SMME to the JSE.
Thank you so much, Kenny, but you're not going anywhere. I'd like to give, of course, our delegates just 2 minutes for any questions that you have for Kenni Gambo. I know you're motivated. Probably no questions that you have. You're probably like, listen, we heard it all. But if there's anyone, of course, in the audience who has any question whatsoever for Kenny, please, we have 2 minutes for those questions. Anyone? You may raise your hand, and the roving mic, of course, will come to you. Do we have our microphones? Do you have a hand?
Which one?
Yes.
The lights are so bright. I'm trying to see in the middle if there's any hand. I'm struggling. Thank you so much, lady. Thank you. So I will take, is that just one question? Let me be clear. Is it just one question? Do we have more? We have 2. We have another question? 2 questions so far? We have 3. I'll take a maximum of 5. I have 3 questions so far. 4. Do you have a last question? Anyone? Anyone? All right, we'll take our 4 questions. Thank you so much. We have one more? All right, at the back there. We'll just take one more. Thank you so much.
Hi, Kenny. My name is Tarsha, and I appreciate what you were saying just now. I just want to know, do you have some kind of an appointment book where we can book to come and see you for more motivational speaking, please?
What? Yes. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay, I did now.
All right. Let me help Kenny here. Let me take all the questions. Let me take all the questions for him so he can just answer briefly. So the first question is there any way you can book him or call him or contact him? Am I correct? Yes. All right.
My name is Lwazi.
Yes.
My name is Lwazi Mahau.
Yes, Lwazi.
I would like to know, Kenny, what drives you every day? When you wake up, what drives you? What is your mantra? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lwazi. Brilliant question. Do we have another question? Our third question, please. Yes, lady.
Thank you. My name is Sandisiwe Zuma from Ubutyebi Leruo. I'd love to find out, Kenny, how do you encourage the youth of today that are viewing life through what they see on television, which is not portraying the true reflection of real life, because on television, what we saw is a flashy life. In our locations, Ekasi, what we see is people driving flashy cars, uneducated, our brothers that went to school, that are educated, not getting the jobs. So how do you encourage such people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May we have a fourth question, please?
Hello?
All right, the microphone is on its way. Yes, gentlemen.
Okay. Sibamba ngazo zozibini mhlekazi. My name is Mqolisi Jack from Mefaleti Enterprises, Business Consulting. My question is, how does one sustain the burning desire beyond the actual motivation? You get motivated, the motivational speaker leaves, but how do I remain motivated? Thank you.
That's such a relevant question. Thank you so much for that question, sir. We'll take a last question.
Hi, my name is Roland from Fred Footwear. The question that I have, I think, deals with issues of balancing between short-term issues in dealing with your business, as well as also having the sight for long-term issues, sustainable issues. My question is, how do you suggest that one balance this or make the strategic trade-offs between the short-term and the long-term issues in the business? Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I'll just summarize the questions for you once again, Kenny. Our first question was about your contact details. How do people get a hold of you? What drives you as Kenni Gambo? How do you encourage young people that are watching right now that are perhaps being fed more, fantasy, TV? And how do you sustain yourself as an SMME beyond motivation? How do you balance your short-term issues and your long-term goals? I'll give you about 2 minutes to answer, please.
Can I have a question? Okay. I think let me begin with the first one. Am I contactable? I think there are contact details here. I have cards. After I finish speaking, I can give you my card, maybe at the door there, if that's okay. Otherwise, I'll ask if the projection guys can just flash them on again later when they have a minute or so. I think if I move to the second one is that what drives me. I come from a home, and this is very important for those of us who are parents. I think most of us are parents in this room, right? Very important what we tell and what we feed the minds of our children and also the children of those who also come into our homes and become our children. One person's child is everybody's child. I come from a home where we were taught that despite what was going on around us, that madness had nothing to do with us. We didn't write it, we didn't author it, it's there. We just need to learn how to deal with it. And so we were taught to read incessantly, to empower ourselves, and to always remember that where we come from had nothing to do with where we were going. And every time we would doubt, we were shown the picture of District 6, that we come from there. We are here by accident. We will go back there. And so you kind of had a sense that there was more to you than what was around you. So I'm driven by the fact my faith drives me as well, and I know long ago it was taboo to talk about your faith. I speak about mine unapologetically. My faith drives me, my belief that I have seen South Africans do wonderful things. Wonderful. I've seen us do some other things not so wonderful, but that's fine too. I've seen us do some wonderful things as a nation, and that I wake up in the morning and the possibilities of where this country could go. If you've toured throughout the continent and throughout the rest of the world, you will believe in South Africa when you come back, trust me. Just last year, 375,000 people came back through the homecoming revolution. And I see the possibilities here and the impact you and I could make. That drives me. The next question I was asked was, how do I encourage the youth? When I came back to Gugulethu after many years away, I remember there was a boxing club called Loyolo, which had been closed for 15 years. I was running a sports cafe that I opened up in the township, and while I was working at the same time. So I decided to take a certain percentage, meaning 25% of my income from the sports cafe, and reopen the Loyolo Boxing Club in my attempt to get youth off the street and get them into the club. I'm very proud to announce that I no longer play an active role, but we went from 0 to about 42 boxers right now, some with provincial colors. And here's the point. If all of us can get involved in doing something that affects, let's say, 10 young people, we could all impact the youth. in meaningful ways. But sometimes, because I'm PM, I'm city is in rolling tops, we just drive past. We are guilty of that. The kids have no role models and they have no one to aspire to. And one of the things that I really try to do is engage myself. You saw Barcelona, I do work there. And I really am not in the habit of sharing what I do for my community. I find it quite tacky. But get involved in your community. Try and get a core group of you. There are young people who want to do something with their lives, and we can help. The next question was, how do we sustain? I work with one of our sales directors, always speaks about keeping a mind that is filled with the thoughts, the possibility thoughts. Read. I read 3-4 books at any given time. Motivational stuff. Listen to motivational feed. I choose what goes into this mind. I select. I'm the editor here. I censor information. I don't want any disempowering information. I love all of you, but please don't come and tell me so-and-so is like this and like this. I can see for myself. This is not a rubbish bin. So choose what information you absorb, because that's what you emit. And then the last question, I think, how do I balance the issues of short and long term? The gentleman asked there. When you run an SMME, you have immediate needs, you have immediate issues that need to be addressed, and most of those needs would be money related. What I've learned to do was to divide my goals into 3 compact departments. I have the short ones, the medium ones, and the long ones. I need to do the short ones diligently so I can keep the doors open, etc., etc. So I spend enough time on all 3, knowing that the short-term goals will take me to my long-term ones. They are not separate, they are part of a continuum. You don't have to do this and stop hoping for that. There are people who are famous today who started doing A but are now famous doing B. And that's how I draw balance between those. And then the last one, what was the last one? So I hope in some way that has helped you. These are simple things. These are not thesis, PhD stuff that we need. We need simple common sense and logic. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kenny. I'm disappointed because I was supposed to give away your book, but you just took it back. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're trying to tell me. Thank you so much, Kenny. Well, that was Kenni Gambo. And, the reason why I have this book in my hand is because we're actually giving away 3 books of Kenni Gambo's. Okay, this is Conquering the Odds Stacked Against You. It's an inspiration that ignites the mind. He spoke about the mind, what you feed your mind. Well, Kenny has it all written in here, and we are giving away 3 books. But of course, I would encourage you to place your business cards. There's a jar placed outside at the exhibition area. So place your business cards, and then, just after tea, we'll call Kenny back to randomly select 3 business cards that would win this book. Are you excited? Do you want the book? Do you want the book? I want to hear it. Do you want this book? All right, give it a round of applause. I'll be giving away 3 books a little bit later. Thank you so much, Kenny.